So after all that, so I said to Pete, I said, you know what? I got to go see him. I says, I'm never going to see him again breathing. I says, let me go. Let's treat. He says, do what you want. That's what Pete would always say. Do what you want. That was his way, because he could never sit and have a normal conversation with Pete, because his eye would pop out of his head, because he only had one eye. And do what you want. I said, all right, I'm going to do it. I said, but you're going to come with me. You'll come with me. All right, growling all the time. He thought he was a tough guy. And he didn't realize he was only the acting boss, because there was no one else to make an acting boss. So it was like out of necessity. It wasn't out of quality or that he had any brains.
Wow.
So we go, and the intensive care unit was like an open unit, just with those sliding curtains. So when you got on the floor, there was the nurse's station, and then you could see it was open. So we get up there, and of course, I didn't see any security. I saw downstairs in the lobby security. In the lobby, there was, I would say, 150 flower arrangements from people that lived in Springfield. Not wise guys, not mafia guys, residents of Springfield. People were sending him food, big pots of sauce, cookies, raviolis, pasta, sending it to John. Not wise guys, not mafia guys looking for favors. The residents, the people of Springfield. The lobby, I'm telling you, you couldn't see the flower arrangements. That's how many were there.
He couldn't eat as good. He couldn't eat that much, probably.
No, he couldn't eat any of that food. But the government was going crazy, because this was just John Q. Citizen. They couldn't blame me for it. I didn't orchestrate it. This was John Q. Because people loved him. He respected people. So fast forward, Pete and I go up there. He sees me. I see him. It was very emotional. All of a sudden, 5, 6, I don't know, 8, I don't even remember the amount, but quite a few guys with those black things, you can't see their face. I call them ninjas. Come, attack me and Pete, throw us on the floor, handcuff us, and put us in a closet. There was a closet. And they just put us in a closet, handcuffed. Can you imagine being locked in a closet with Pete Gotti for over 2 hours and listening to his shit for 2 hours? They're burping and talking and making noises. I says, Pete, it doesn't help what you're doing. And it's 90 degrees in the room. I said, they're not going to keep us in here forever. Well, who knows we're here? Pete, please, you're driving me crazy. So ultimately we get released. They don't lock us up. But that was the last time I saw John.
Wow.
And then the next day, it was like 7 days. And we could have done 14 days there, maybe 25 days. He calls me up. He says, I want to go back. If you and my son by tomorrow don't have me back, don't ever come to see me again.
Wow.
That's the kind of guy. No special treatment. He says, Louis, it doesn't matter. He says, I love you and Peter. It doesn't matter. I'm not going out this way. He wouldn't give a quarter. He won't give an inch to them. He says, back. Make sure I'm back tomorrow. I go to D. Wampler. I says, withdraw the writ. Thank everybody. And ultimately, they move him back. One day while I'm there, I find out what church. It's a big church town. D. Wampler, Warden Bill Hedrick goes to. Big church town. So I says to Peter, let's find out what church this guy goes to. Because I later found out that this guy was very close to John Ashcroft, the Attorney General.
Yes.
They both go to the same church. Well, Thornburg was the AG when John was in Marion.
Okay.
That's me and Thornburg had a conversation when I was on the Larry King show, when I asked the Attorney General about the toxic water at Marion, and he couldn't answer me. I gave him the report. I showed him the report. I says, Mr. Attorney General, here's the report. All these inmates are eating contaminated water. What are you going to do about it? You know what he did about it. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah. The usual.
Zero.
Yeah.
So to get back to what I was saying, he gets put back into there. Again, I'm fast forwarding everything. And he gets back in there and sick as he was, they had him on it. They had a recording on him at all times. What are you recording? But they wanted to cover their ass because they figured they could be a class action. They could have been a major lawsuit, which we all wanted to do. But you're not going to get anywhere, and that wasn't his way. He didn't want that. So I go back home, and I get a phone call thereafter. Could have been a month, 2 months, 3 months. I don't know, Peter. I was going down every other weekend, maybe every third weekend. Peter calls me, says, Lewis, it's not good. He says, you better come down. So I go down, and again, I go to get into scene. Every time I went, whether married here, I always signed in and attempted to visit. And I always got the same denial. You're a threat to institutional security. I go again, and there's a big tower at Springfield, and this guy on a megaphone, Peter pushes the button to the box. He says, Peter Gotti here and Louis Kasman to see John Gotti. So the guy on the bullhorn says, Mr. Gotti, you can come in. Kasman cannot enter. And if he doesn't leave now, we're going to place him under arrest. So I drop Peter off at the front gate. I said, I'll come back in 2 hours. So I come back, I pick Pete. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, I can't.
Threatens to arrest me. So I hold a press conference back at the hotel. Goes all over Springfield. So now about 100 people are marching in front of Springfield with signs.
Good.
Not wise guys, not people that we paid. John Q. Citizen. This is the kind of action and activity John would generate. And this is what drove the government crazy. This is what drove Bruce Mao crazy, head of C-16 in the FBI, the Gambino squad. This is what used to drive Phil Scala crazy, also a former head of C-16. Drive them crazy. Why does the public love this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Mm-hmm. Because they love him, because he's just that way. He's just, just a good guy.
He had the charisma. He had
charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a tough guy. He was a killer. If you were in that life and you fucked up,
that's his life.
That's his life. That's what he chose. He chose that life because he had no choices in life growing up.
Right.
So that's the and then he passes. They break our chops. They're not supposed to do this. They're not supposed to do that.
I want to ask you something about that after he passes. There was something I had heard. They did some surgery on him after he passed away, or
that'll be for another show.
Okay.
They did some horrendous things.
Really
horrendous.
I want to get that on another show, Lewis. Then because that's very important. I can't believe this.
Yeah, we'll get into that at another time and a place.
Okay.